at the time I'm still not doing it, you know, like I'm Buddhism, so that I go to the temple quite often, but then I do only the minimum day, which is full moon and no moon, the 15th and the first of the
First,
month.
okay.
And then she mentioned she did that, and then it's like on the screen TV. So anyway, when I decide to do that, she still, and then a few more years she cannot. She lose some muscles. Her health is not good, so she's got to eat some fish here and there. And then
Stephanie, we are live.
All right. All
yeah,
right.
you okay?
I will join you now.
Cool. So welcome to today's practice. Today we are going to talk about the power of our language. We are working on our throat chakras today, right? And our throat chakra has the capacity which holds our true and authentic voice, our auditory communicator, right? And how we say things. And we're going to focus more today on the power of our language and the words that we use towards ourselves, right? So when you all think about words, what do you think about words and the power of the words that we use or the language that we use? What do you think about that?
Well, I think words make a huge difference in terms of how you're perceived. I think there's a law of attraction thing, right?
Okay.
So when you say things about people that are positive, they tend to bring out a better result.
Okay.
If you say things that are negative, especially to your children,
Okay.
that doesn't work out so well, does it? So I toss this over?
I don't know if you should want to throw it. You may want to pass it. I don't know how good we are on catching.
I think when I put it right here in the center, we can all hear it.
Okay. So what do you think about words and the power of the words that we're using?
I agree with him. Just like if you say, sometimes an emotion in your mind, if something happy, a lot of time you will say positive to people around you or things around you. And then if you have something stress in your mind, sometimes you want to say certain thing, but because your emotional inside make you feel sad or depression, you cannot say nice things to other leaders. So to me, the mind is also control the word.
Okay, I like that. So what you're saying is the state of mind also controls our words. I would kind of agree with that as well, because if you're not in a good state of mind for yourself, you're not going to be able to talk good to anyone else, because like you said, the emotions that are inside. So keeping our mindset balanced in, for lack of a better word, clear, right? And you talked about a few lessons ago, we were talking about the power of the mind, right? And then it starts in the mind. Do you guys have any affirming languages or words that you say to yourself?
To myself?
Yes. Because before we go into other people, because I heard you say the children and what we say about other people, right? I want to kind of focus on ourselves, because what I'm seeing a lot is that we do a lot of focusing on others, but we don't really focus on ourselves. Like we may want to say nice things to others, but a lot of the reasons that we can't is because we're not really saying nice things to ourselves. Right? So what do you think about the power of affirming to yourself?
Well, every morning when I wake up and look in the mirror, I'm just glad I'm alive.
Okay.
So with that,
okay.
just
okay.
And I'm pretty happy with who I am. And,
okay.
Most things don't really trouble me. So I'm very happy in life that I have grown children now, and seem to be getting along okay in life, and have a great wife, as you know.
If I may ask, Have you always been that way? Meaning you've always felt good about yourself and you've always been in a happy place.
I would say, except for adolescent years when you're going through, just growing pains. But yeah, I'd say pretty much as an adult, I've always been pretty positive about things. I think that's because of my Christian faith.
Okay. Okay. So what you're saying is you've always, for the most part of your life, you have had a practice that has kind of
Yeah.
walked you through that and taught you that.
Well,
Right?
I always think about having, I don't walk through life alone.
Okay.
You understand what I mean? So if you have a higher power, life is a lot easier.
Okay.
And certainly your self-perception, feel like you're loved by God. It's a very positive thing.
Okay. Those are positive things. Feeling loved by God is definitely a positive, right? So if I hear you correctly, you don't really recall a time where you have to use affirming words to maybe get yourself through a time, or to even through those adolescent years when we're kind of going through puberty. Do you ever remember having to kind of self-affirm?
Unless you want to call that prayer, prayer life is something that I think I do, but it's more of a conversation with God, not so much a conversation with myself.
So you don't think that when you're talking to God, you're talking to yourself? Isn't God in you?
God is a distinctly different entity than me.
Aren't you made in the image of God?
Yeah, but I'm not. I'm not going to say that I'm God.
I'm not saying that you're God, but I'm saying you don't think that you're talking to yourself when you're talking to God.
Most Christians believe that the Holy Spirit is something that indwells in you, and so yeah, that helps you communicate with God. But when you're addressing things to God, they're usually concerns of the heart, things that aren't really in your span of control, and things that you trust that God will help you with.
So as a Christian, I definitely believe that when I'm talking to God, that I'm speaking with myself, the God that lives within me, right? And that I am affirming what God has already told me, right? And so I do understand what you're saying, that we are not saying that we are God, right? But I just think that when I'm having these inner conversation, that small, still voice that's inside, it is a voice of God, but it's also me.
I can see that.
Yeah. Right. That it's also us, that we are really having these affirming conversations. And it's like two ways, right? Because if you get into prayer and you're trying to say some stuff that doesn't resonate with the God in you, that God says, no, you are powerful. You are strong, right? It doesn't really let you say, I suck. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, you don't. You know what I'm saying? And so maybe you've never used.
I don't think I've ever had a prayer where I said, God, I suck.
Cool. See, I have. There's a point in my life where I didn't really feel good about myself, even being a Christian. And that's kind of how I got to the spiritual practice of yoga.
Okay.
So I have had conversations, and I still will have a conversation with God if I'm not feeling my best. And I'll be like, oh, today I feel like I'm not the best, or I feel like I suck today.
You're a tremendous role model for people. I really appreciate that. So, and everybody's life is a little bit different.
Yes.
Now, I can't say that I've had a life of privilege. I grew up a poor kid on the wrong side of town, but I guess I've always been the kind of kid that liked to go after achievements and things like that. That kind of builds a positive self-image.
Cool. When I talk about affirming, just really, so in school as an educator, we teach children how to affirm themselves. And it's basically using I am, I will, affirming that you are strong, that you are intelligent, that you will succeed, right? And so we talk about 3 types of different words when we talk about language in school. Well, it's really maybe 4, but we talk about positive words, negative words, Neutral words are no words, right? And there's different stages in life where you go to different things, right? And so some of us in life have had to have affirming, um, what do I want to call them? Well, affirmations. That's basically where they were. So, for example, at one point in time, I didn't see the beauty in myself physically, right? And so I didn't think that I was a beautiful person. And I had to come up with an affirmation that basically instilled inside of me that I am beautiful, right? And so I had to use the affirmation that I am wonderfully and beautifully made for maybe, I don't know, for a while until now it's like I wake up every day and be like, oh, you're so beautiful, Tiffany. Like not being arrogant or anything, but just affirming myself that I do see that beauty now that other people saw before me. I was able to see that, right? And so I had to use things like positive words, right? Because if we are really uh, honest and really, really observant, about 80% of us are not using positive words, even when it comes to ourselves, right? When we think about what we're saying about ourselves. Now, us three here just happen to be having spiritual practice, whether it's Christianity or Buddhism or whatever, right? And we have been doing the work. So it may be a little different for us, right? But there is a huge number of people out there that if we listen to it, we can listen to the music of today. Right? If you have kids that are younger, if you're paying attention, the music, and this is just not rap music per se. This is, I've been listening to country music lately because I'm an educator with children and I have to stay connected to what they're doing, right? And I'm listening to country from rap to, and a lot of it is not positive words, right? And most of us are attracted to the beat because it's the frequency, you know? But we don't really listen to the words. But if we listen to those words, we're like, what? And yeah, this is my favorite song, right? And so learning the power of our words because it's the power of the tongue, right? And so it seems to me that you have always had that. And some of us do have, you know, we all have a talent that we can like be like, oh, we're just natural at that. Some of us have that natural ability to be able to stay in a positive mindset and kind of, and this is not really me telling you, but my psychology background is you affirm, but you don't really have to do it out loud, right? So you do it more inwardly. You know what I'm saying? Like I have to say, well, I had to. Now I can, like you said, wake up and lay in my bed and be like, life is beautiful. Oh, I love my life. But it was once upon a time that I had to use my throat to hear myself say these things to me. You are beautiful. You are smart. You can achieve that, right? And I propose that you do that, but you do it internally and you don't really speak the words out. You just keep that stuff internally, and then you're like, "Oh, I got this goal. I'm going to complete that. I know I'm going to achieve that." Right? Wrong? Maybe.
Could be.
So,
I mean,
cool. And it's no right or wrong. It's just it is, right? But that's how we kind of usually do that, right? We play it in our mind sometimes, or we have to speak it.
I think, yeah, when I think about my interactions with other people, I kind of like to be a coach. You know what I mean? Just like be an encourager. So maybe that's part of it too, right?
And I'm glad you said that because I didn't really realize until probably the last 7 years that I've always been a coach.
See that?
Yeah, I didn't,
Yeah.
right? And
Well, that goes with being an educator.
yeah,
You know,
but I
'cause it
didn't.
takes a special compassion to want to be kids and really help them turn
Yeah,
into adults, right? So it's not an easy job.
it's not. But it took a friend of mine to remind me, like, Tiffany, you don't remember that you used to always make us come to, well, you didn't make us come to your house. We would come to your house, but you did make us play school or church. And I was like, uh-huh. And they was like, and you don't remember you always had to be the teacher or the preacher? And I was like, no, I don't quite remember. And they was like, mm-hmm. You were always like, okay, I'm going to be the teacher. And if we were playing church, you're going to be the preacher. And I didn't really see that as part of my life of being that coach, right? There was a time in my life that I was really good at keeping stuff internally and making it happen. But there came some spaces in my life that I had to really verbalize. And I know why, because some of the things that I went through early on in life, it caused me to kind of be hard, right? And so I had this hard, aggressive voice, right? It's part of coaching because sometimes you got to get in there. You know, it's that student or something or athlete that you're like, now I know you got to, but you're playing and you got to get right. But it was just so much pain that it was hard, right? And so yoga taught me how to have a soft, inviting, encouraging, coaching voice, right? That invites people to come in. And it's still the same Tiffany, but it's just a different voice. And if you listen to that, this voice is more inviting to make people want to say, oh, let's see what she's offering, right? And I had to learn how to use my throat chakra and balance it. Now, do I sometimes get a little stern with it? I know how to go back there, but more than often, calm, cool voice is taking over. The coaching, yes.
So again, neophyte here. I don't know what the word chakra means.
Okay, we'll go there. Okay, so chakras are the energy centers that are in our bodies, right? And we have thousands of them, but we tend to focus on 7 of them, right? And the 7 of them that we focus on, they range from the crown of your head and they go down the body to the root of the spine, right? And it's kind of like if you are familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of life. So everything starts with the bottom foundation being right, and then you can move up. That's kind of how I kind of believe that that's how the hierarchy was kind of established through him knowing and being knowledge of the chakras, because the root chakra is the base, right? The base of the spine. And it controls if you feel safe, secure, supported, belong, loved, right? And so for me, as a child growing up, the root chakra was out of whack because I didn't feel safe, I didn't feel secure, right? And hierarchy says if you don't have that foundation, nothing else is going to come into play, right? And through my practice and experience in life, I would kind of agree with that.
Well, that explains a lot about the world, doesn't it?
It does. It does. That we're trying to build, right, and go higher, but the bottom, the foundation is not supported, right? And so where I see myself going now, and me and Dr. Tran talked about this, that mostly I would work with the chakras and the energy centers because that's the work that I've had to do for myself in balancing these centers. And the chakras, they turn like, I like to describe it like the clock on the Big Ben when they're in sync, and they're supposed to be in sync, right? And when they're in sync, it's like me and you. We wake up every day and we feel beautiful, and we look and say, "Oh, the world is good. I'm so happy. I'm grateful for what I have." You know, things are still happening in the world, but that's not where we're focused. We're in balance, right? When they're out of balance, either like before, I was always anxious and unsettled. Or they could be, that's when they're like too tight, right? Or too loose. Or when they're too tight, you might be compulsive and obsessive, right? And aggressive, like I used to be, right? But the idea is to balance the chakras, right? You balance the safety and security. Then you come up a level, that's your creativity and your positive self-expression. You come up another level, that's your confidence and your boldness and your willpower. You come up another level, that's your heart, forgiving and loving. You come up another level, that's your throat. Okay? You come up another level, that's your third eye, your wisdom and your knowledge. And you come up to the 7th level, that's your spiritual connection to the higher powers, the crown chakra, right? You've ever seen some of these illustrations where it's like somebody has a clear globe over their head? That means that they are connected to the crown chakra, to the higher powers above, right? And so where you are in life, it sounds like you've already gotten there, but you don't, or you're going through it, but you don't really, nobody's ever labeled it to you as you're working on the chakras, right? But it sounds like to me that's what you're actually doing, right? Without knowing. And so what happens is when we work on the chakras and we balance them, they begin to send energies out in these parts of the body. So the root chakra controls the lower extremities of the body, right? And they all coincide with some spaces in your body and the organs and things, right? The heart, the throat, the brain, and they coincide. And the idea is to balance them off so that you're in alignment with who you are. Like you said, everybody's different, right? And so I have had to, in order for me to get in a line, that's the spiritual path that I've been led to go down, right? And that's the work that I do in helping us to balance those chakras. Sometimes, for most of us, they're not even activated. They're not even activated. So we're wondering why. So, for instance, you may want to say something, and then every time you get in front of that person, you're like, and all night you've been thinking, okay, I'm going to say this, this, and this, and it's going to be so nice. And then as soon as you get in, you can't say anything because it's not activated, right? And to be honest, a lot of us in today's culture has been talked out of our voice, right? Uh, that's not nice to say. Don't say that. You shouldn't say that. You're wrong for saying that. Why did you? Yeah, we're not being encouraged to really be our authentic self and to really speak authentically. And you can do that. Take it from me. The person that was aggressive and say anything, and it probably was the truth. Yeah. But the way that I was saying it, you weren't going to hear it and you were not going to receive it. But learning that I do have a voice, right? And I can say these things. Sometimes people may be hurt, but if I practice on saying it gently and kindly with compassion, that's the key. That's what I had to learn, right? Like I said, some of the stuff that I was saying, it's the same stuff, but it's not being said the same way because I had to learn how to use my voice.
That is so true. And I've done many things in life, and one of those things was being an Army officer.
Okay.
And I learned as a young lieutenant that how you talk to people really is a function of who that person is, because you can't just scream at people. You know, you have to kind of understand empathically what's going on with that person if you're going to have a constructive conversation. Another way of saying it is to try to make it safe if you can.
Try to make it safe. You're right.
Especially if you're giving constructive feedback.
Because our words can make people feel safe or they can make us feel unsafe. And that's what I meant when I said when we're talking to God. If we try to say something unsafe when we're having a conversation with God, it's like, nope, nope, that's not for here. You know what I'm saying? Even in your spirit, you start feeling like, no, that don't feel right. Because God wants us to feel safe. God wants us to feel secure and supported, loved, and that we belong. And so I had to learn that I had been given this gift to coach people, to lead people, but only a certain amount of persons was going to follow me, right? And I did this experiment one time in school, right? Because sometimes you kind of try to code switch per se, right? And so I tend to take the schools that they say are at risk, right? These students are never going to be anything. Why? Because I was one of the students that couldn't self-regulate, didn't know how to consciously discipline myself. And most teachers had banished me to the allopatmos. But it was one teacher that would always say, you could be anything you want. You're intelligent. You're smart, right? Affirming me, even when I didn't know what she was doing, because I used to be thinking, oh, Miss Garrett, she just likes me. She's talking crazy. I'm never going to be anything, right? Me and Miss Garrett is like the best of friends now, and I really love her because she believed in me even when I didn't believe in myself, right? But I say that to say, I did this experiment in school. And so I'm talking to the kids and I'm like, okay, come on, guys, let's get ourselves together. We're going to do this today. Nobody's moving, right? I'm like, guys, come on, right? So finally I was like, hey, listen, guys, we're going to do this. And so one student bust out laughing. He was like, now that's the voice we're waiting for. And I'm like, huh? He was like, that's not the vibration that we're on. And so when you're trying to say that, we're not being rude, but we don't really hear you, you know? So I had to learn, like you said, oh, this group, I got to talk a little bit more louder and a little deeper tone. This group, they need soft. And it's like some people drink cappuccino, some people like espresso, some people like milk chocolate, some people like coffee. And giving through the throat, offering, right? I got 2 kids. I can talk to one, and then the other one I have to say, now, son, listen, right? And now that he's getting into a different age, I'm learning, oh, I could even soften up with him, right? But you have to learn you first, right? And sometimes in this world, we are taught focus on him and focus on her. No, even in Christianity, the rule is to know thyself, to study to show thyself approved. And you're studying you and so that's the work that I really do. And I come to share it with others, but I have to do this work first as well. And so I had to learn how to balance my throat. And I promise I didn't think I could do it. I didn't. It took me 6 months teaching at the gym. And at the gym, I had to teach yoga and have a mic, right? And so I was kind of scared of my voice. Remember, it's raspy. It's a little. I actually love it now, so you don't have to worry about it. I think it's a nice voice, right? I think it's the greatest thing ever, right? But at first, again, I wasn't used to hearing it, right, as much. And so it took me about 6 months. And one morning I was at the gym, and I said, what I say every day is, well, great day and welcome to. And lo and behold, no, I said to myself, well, shit, Tiffany, if that's you, I would listen to you too. That's your voice, right? But I had never really heard that voice that I did have, right? And really listen. And I think that that has a lot to do with actually doing the work on each chakra, right? So what we're going to do today, we're going to do a little practice. You know, I always like to do a little meditating, right? And we're going to make the focus the chakra, right? We're going to do some lion's breath. Have you guys ever did lion's breath?
I don't
No, no, that's fine. It's always, and it's a small group today, right? But I kind of am biased to small groups. I love private, personal lessons because I think sometimes we are more open when it's not a lot of people here. You might be a little nervous at first, like one person, yeah, but we're kind of more open to be transparent when it's not that many people here, right? And we don't have to worry about the many minds, and we can just kind of be like no mind, right? And so we're gonna work on that, right? And doing some visualization with that too, right? Lion's breath. Lion's breath is a posture or pose that we do in yoga, right? And it's just a concept of opening the mouth like a lion, right? With each breath, right? Now, I'm going to be honest. Like when we do work with chakra, you might feel like you want to cough up, you know what I'm saying? It may seem like it's some type of force that's keeping you from opening your mouth. A lot of times these energies have been so shut down for so long that it's like when you try to go out there and dig on some hard ground, and it's going to take some hard work, right? That's the best way I can describe it, because it's just been hardened down so much, right? And so what I say is first you might have a little kitty, right? Meaning barely opening, right? It does take some practice. And because sometimes this kind of stuff can be a little intimidating, sometimes we kind of resist, right? But the focus is to, each time we're practicing, is to really open the mouth 1 inch deeper, right? So you inhale, you get air. When you exhale, you. Okay? Now, this is practice. So you see my mouth like, oh, Tiffany, okay, right? This is practice. And I practice a lot at home because remember, I didn't like my voice and I didn't, right? And so I had to practice a lot at home without anybody, where I don't have to be ashamed or people be like, oh, her mouth is wide or her lion's voice is really, right? Because at first it was a kitty.
But the great news is today we're on YouTube.
Right. See how I have progressed, right? Without caring about the minds, because now it's millions of people who can watch me do this, right?
Or maybe hundreds, I don't know.
Yeah. Millions of people watch YouTube, whether you think so or not, right? But at least hundreds, however many, right? It's more than that's us two, right? You two watching, right? Okay, never mind. But just maybe forgetting that YouTube is here, right? Which is kind of, and focusing on activating the throat chakra, right? We may do a little massage into that area, right? But everything is going to be the throat for today, right? Now, the throat chakra has, each chakra has a color, right? And any guesses of what these color schemes are like? Any wild guesses of the color schemes of the chakras?
Well, so voice, huh? So I would say it's got to be a nice color.
It is. It's lots. It's about 7 nice colors.
7
Because
nice colors.
each chakra has a color associated to it. It's very, it goes right in line with biblical teachings too, right? If you think about colors and 7 of them and beauty.
So I'm going to guess yellow or
Yellow is one.
Yeah, because you got the
orange is one.
Got the yellow earrings going.
Well, actually, today I probably got on every chakra today, right? And I just woke up and was like, "What am I gonna wear?" And I was like, "Oh, I'll wear my neat little orange dress from Thailand," right? So each chakra, right? So each chakra has a color, and they amazingly coincide with the colors of the rainbow.
But in my mind I was thinking, in my mind the white one is here.
I love it. See, and I said to you earlier, don't be ashamed to speak out, and even if it takes a little longer, right? Because we talked about really we're supposed to be slow to answer, right? We've been taught, why are you taking so long to answer? But processing what I'm asking you and then saying it, right? Because they are. So they're the color of the rainbow, right? So the root chakra is red, the sacral is orange, the solar plexus is yellow, the heart is green. The throat is blue.
Okay.
And the third eye is purple, indigo, and you are correct. The last one is clear or white, right? And if you really ever looked at a rainbow, that's exactly how it looks.
Do you see the colors when you look at people?
I can.
You can?
I can. I can see the aura of a person sometimes. I can, right? But they're inside of the body, if that makes sense. It's like, here's the front, here's the back, and then the chakras are lined up in the middle of it.
So when you perceive a person who's ill, do you see different colors?
Sometimes you can. You can see what's off,
okay,
or where that illness is coming from, like what part of that body part is.
And that's a developed sensitivity.
It is. Now, and I'm going to be honest. Now that I'm here, I've always been doing this when I was little. I've always been doing this when I was little. And when I try to tell people, because of their unknowingly, they would be like, girl, you don't see any colors. You don't see any. And so about 13, I just stopped. Because maybe I don't. You know? Maybe I don't. And then what that did, it just shut down the whole system. My voice, my thoughts, my positivity, my creativity, my safety and security was already off, right? We talked about that. And so then I just shut everything down. And it took me probably about 20 something years to start back. But now that I'm fully here, I'm like, oh, Tiffany, this is how you've always been.
So that's a third eye thing. Seeing the colors, is that a crown thing?
I don't know what thing it is, which area it is, right? But to answer you, the first color that I can remember when I got back to myself was the crown thing. And it was just like a big burst of white light, right? And for the first time that I can remember, somebody said, yeah, you do see that. Yeah, you do. And it kind of clicked back on for me that this is okay, right? Because the people of influence were my parents, and they didn't know any better, that I was trying to say, hey, do you see that? And they're like, no, right? And it was sort of taboo, probably, and embarrassing, if you know what I say. Like this girl talking about she sees things, and we're already kind of like on the wrong side of the tracks of what you said. So now we're going to be seen as some more weirdo family, that type of thing. Now that I'm able to process it, but I've always been like this. And now that I'm here, I'm like, oh, you're back to where you were like where you first started at before you were taught or that you processed. No, that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. Right? But when I snapped back on, the first light that I did see was clear. And then I started seeing purple, which would go, like you said, to the wisdom. Right? And maybe that's where I needed to be waking up at. Right? Yeah. It's very interesting, right? It very is. It is, and it's you can look at the science of it. It's proven, right? And it's just changed my life. That's all I can say. And so I have been working up the scale of the chakras. And like I said, today we're just gonna practice on the throat, right? And we're gonna imagine the color blue, right? When we do that, we're gonna imagine the color blue. And I'm gonna guide you through this, right? So it's not gonna be like you're just gonna be sitting there. We're going to talk about throat chakra and maybe if you guys have any positive words that you like or things that you would like for me to reaffirm while we're going through that practice. I'm going to give you a few moments while I get this music together and you can think about if you'd like for me to reaffirm something for you, like, I'm strong, I'm positive, I'm confident. It could, or nothing. But just take a moment and think about that. And I'm going to get our music and then we'll start. Cool? Okay. Alrighty. So anybody have any affirming words or affirmation that they would like me to use?
Just that we're blessed.
Okay. All right. So we're blessed. All right. Okay. So that we're in alignment. Would that be a good word? Doing the right thing that you're maybe. I always use the word abundance, right? Because abundance to me it can incorporate almost anything from being blessed, from being aligned, from health, from wealth, prosperity, for being grateful, for being thankful. Like abundance is a huge word that incorporates a lot, right? So we're blessed, we're abundant, we're aligned. Right? We speak our truths, right? And we do that kindly, with compassion, and with empathy. Okay, cool. So listen, once you begin to bring yourself into a comfortable position, if that's comfortable, you can stay there. If that's not comfortable, you can find another position. It's no right or wrong way to do this, but I just want your body to be soft, right? And whenever I talk about soft, I mean, for lack of a better word, relax. Because sometimes when we say relax, our body immediately tenses up. That's just the way the brain works. So I like to just say another word and say soft, right? And I want you to begin to soften every area in your body. Notice if any spaces in the body is tight or with tension. And if they are, speak kind, gentle words to that part of the body and begin to ask the body to soften. Right? For example, our jaws and our cheeks. We tend to hold them tight and our teeth are clenching. So notice your jaws and your cheeks. And if you're holding them tight, just create a small space between the lips and allow the air to move freely out of the mouth. Now the body is becoming still and soft. And the invitation is to begin to deepen your breath. Okay? And one way that we deepen our breath in the practice is by taking deep inhales through our nostrils, filling the belly with air and allowing the lungs and the chest to fill. And then we contract our belly back towards our spine. And we let the air out of the chest, the lungs, and the belly. We inhale, fill our bellies with air, and we exhale. and let go. Inhale. Fill your belly with clean, new energy and air. And exhale and let go. Now you're always breathing, even when the instructor is not informing you to do so. You're always inhaling clean, new energy and air. And then you exhale and you let go. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Now, the body is becoming really, really still. The brain becoming really calm. The intention for us to practice today is our throat chakra. Okay? The throat chakra holds our auditory communicating and our authentic voice. The color associated with the throat chakra is the color blue. And I like to imagine blue like the waves of the ocean. They're calm, yet commanding. As you inhale, you're inhaling clean, new energy. Focus that energy to the throat. And exhale and let it out. Okay? Our affirming language for today's practice is: we are blessed. We are aligned. We are abundant. And we speak to empower, to inspire, to encourage, and to uplift. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And any thoughts that come, allow those thoughts. Resist your temptation to judge, to criticize, to label, or even to stop your thoughts. Just allow the thought, the feeling that tends to come with the thought, and then return to your breathing and the affirmations of: we are blessed, we are aligned, we are abundant. We use language that communicates, empowers, inspires, uplifts, encourages. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Now the attention in the breath is at the throat, right? That small dip in the center of the body, at the base of the neck. How about we take our 2 fingers on the right hand and gently take them and begin to massage right there in that dip, just to activate, and think about the waves on the beach, the clear blue water, and how calming that scene is, yet the beach's waves are commanding, demand attention. Maybe a few more circles right there, just stimulating and activating that throat chakra. Right? There you go. Inhaling clean and new energy. And exhale, right? Maybe take the hands down. And now we're going to practice the lion's breath, right? Remember, when we do our lion's breath, we open the mouth 1 inch wider with each breath. We're going to do 7 breaths here, right? Stay connected through the breath. Stay empathetic and compassionate to yourself, all right? Inhale and fill your belly with air. Exhale and open the mouth, right? Inhale and exhale. All right? Inhale, exhale. Open it in the mouth 1 inch deeper. Inhale, exhale. All right? Inhale, you're a lion or a lioness. All right. 3 more. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, exhale. There you go. All right. Inhale, open up wide. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale in. There you go. Last breath. Inhale, really open wide. Come back into the softness. Redirect the energy to the throat. And feel the sensations that may be happening there. Are there any sensations? What does it feel like? Okay. You're inhaling clean and new energy. And you're exhaling and letting go. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. The body is soft and it's free of any tension. Notice if you're holding any spots tense and stressed, and if you are, begin to soften. Allow those parts of the body to be soft and imagine they're melting and becoming part of the earth. For our next 7 breaths, we're going to let out a big sigh as we exhale, right? So we're going to inhale and fill the body with clean, new energy in the belly. And we exhale. Inhale, fill your belly with air. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale through the nose. Exhale. 3 more. Inhale. Fill that body with clean air. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more right there. Inhale. Feel the body. Exhale. Inhale. Deep breath in through the belly. Exhale. Soften the body and go back to the breathing. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And feel the lightness that comes when you're breathing. That calm and clear, that centered space within the body. That's your breath that's creating that and causing you to feel safe, secure, supported, that you belong. Stay with the breath. Focus the energy on the throat chakra and see that color blue. Blue like the waves of the ocean. Calm yet commanding. Inhale and fill the belly with clean new energy. Exhale, contract the belly back towards the spine and let that dry, stale energy come up and out. Inhale and exhale. Still focusing on the throat. On the next inhale, take your head to the left and begin to make slow neck circles, going to the back, opening up the front of the throat, going to the opposite side, and then down, all right? So taking the head to the left or the right, it doesn't matter. Going back and opening up the front of the throat. Taking the head to the opposite side and bringing it down, all right? You inhale to the side. You exhale to the back. Inhale to the opposite shoulder and exhale down. One more complete circle in this direction. When you come back to the center, you're going to take a small pause. And then you're going to reconnect and take the head in the opposite direction. So turn towards the opposite shoulder and roll back towards the ceiling. Turn towards the shoulder and bring it down. So you inhale the chin to one shoulder or the other. You circle the neck to the back. Open up the front of the throat. Turn to the opposite side and then forward. 2 more breaths in this direction. And in yoga, breath is an inhale and an exhale. After your second and complete neck rotation, bring the head back into center. Lift the head so that the throat is expanding. There you go. Listen, take the arms up above the head. Inhale up. And exhale down to the side body. Breathe, right? Inhale up. Exhale down. 2 more. Inhale the arms up. Exhale down. This time. Inhale the arms up. Right? Maybe take the eyes up towards the ceiling. Palms come together. And exhale and just bring it right down in front of the heart center. Right? Now, maybe wiggle the fingers and the toes and slowly beginning to wake up the body and become aware of the space in which we were holding, right? Bringing yourself back into our space. If the eyes were closed, maybe blinking a few times before opening your eyes completely. Take a few moments. Think about throat, what the throat is feeling like, and if there are any sensations there. And then whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back into the space in which we were holding. And we'll have a little short conversation, right? Cool, right? Oh, it's going to sleep? Yeah. Yeah, that happens. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So, how's everybody feeling?
Wake.
Okay. Okay. Relaxing. Okay.
I feel a little bit open up here,
Cool.
or hollow now.
Yeah.
I get to kind of feel
A little bit of expansion there. Yeah. Right. A little bit of concentrated energy and breath there.
It feels like, like if you've been singing,
Uh-huh.
something like that. Although I haven't been singing, so.
You've been singing, you've been breathing, and you've been concentrating, right? And when I say focus that energy there, I could see you guys like really, and it's like opening up,
Singing the blues.
Okay. Feels loose?
Singing the blues, right?
Singing, yeah, right? Singing the blues, okay? So it should, and you may feel a little sensations there, like some little tingling there.
Yeah, that's right.
Cool. That's what you're feeling, like some little vibrations going on there.
Yeah.
That's cool, right? Opening it up and stimulating that area. That's what I mean when the chakras are activated. You feel that. You start to feel that little tingling sensation, like it's some energy. Sometimes when we're in church, or we call it fire in our bones, and you're like, what's all that? Why am I feeling like that? When you focus on these areas and really bring energy, because breath, right? If we're talking about scripture, we were formless, right? Until what happened?
The word.
Yeah, and it breathed life into us, right? When we were just there, we have been created until the Heavenly Father said, well, they need some breath, right? And then we came alive, right? If that's where we're going and that's what we practice, right? And so this is the breath that we still have, right? And sometimes I wake up when I didn't know how to use my breath, and I tell people, just say, oh, thank you, Creator, right? Because we all are breathing and staying alive, but we're really not breathing correctly, okay? Because when we breathe correctly, we can regenerate our own cells, right? Scientifically, ask the doctor, right?
She's a believer in that.
Yes, breath, right?
Yeah.
We really have been equipped with everything we need first.
So
if we
many
take care of
patients-
ourselves.
So many patients she's had it.
Yes, right. And I'm sitting here with you guys telling you that I was a complete different human being before I knew how to breathe, as far as stress level, as far as communication, as far as positivity. Like, we were together on Mother's Day, me and my kids, and my son was late. Oh, well, he has 2 kids. He's just getting used to that, 2 daughters or whatever. And so he was considerably late. But my daughter and I were there. And so halfway through, she was like, Mother, you've really changed, right? And I was like, why you say that? And she was like, nobody's getting cussed out or anything. And he's like 45 minutes late. And then I was like, I realized that. And then she was like, but before, you would have been like calling him and you would have been like, this is so embarrassing. Like, what are you doing? And I was like, well, I'm not there anymore. And I could do that, but that's going to stress me out. That's not going to make him come any faster because it's obvious he can't, right? I was like, and then it's going to probably ruin our Mother's Day. And I've already got my mindset. We're chilling. It's Mother's Day. I'm not in a hurry. But if he isn't here by a certain time, I'm going to order my food. We're going to eat. And if he has to come when we're packing up, I'm just going to say, son, I'm sorry you missed it. Maybe we'll try again, right? But that was huge for her to see that and for her to be able to be like, and you're not even upset about that. But I know for a fact that it has a lot to do with me breathing. And see, I have to do this. I don't have to. I chose to take this profession and I get to do it every day, 4 days a week at least. And I get to start my day like that because I start at the gym at 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning. And I did that purposely. Like, this will help me while I'm helping others, but it'll actually help me to be able to start my day at least 4 days a week with what we have been given. It goes with us everywhere. It's free. Try to stop breathing right now.
I prefer to keep breathing.
Right. Try to leave it at home when you go on vacation. You can't, right? So why not learn how to use it properly and use it to regenerate ourselves, to keep ourselves in alignment, right? More in a spirit of abundance, more connected with our higher power, whatever that is, because the higher power is universal. It is. I have people that don't even speak my language, for real, Hispanics, but I know what they're getting, what they need to get, because they keep on coming back to the class. And all we're doing together is breathing. Sometimes I may have to get right there next to them and say, no, this is the move, do this. But the universal language is inhale, exhale. And that shows me that the creator is universal. We can all be together and have different thoughts come from different regions. But the breath that we have all been given makes us universal and keeps us in connection if we want to. Right? And like I said, you're going to take it with you anywhere. You can't leave it. So why not learn how to use it to really, and that's what really happens when you activate that, you feel that synergy there. Like, oh, some little tingling, a little vibration going there, activating that part of the body. Right? So you may, like I said, today you may feel like you got a lot of coughing going on, like it may feel a little rough, right? Drink you some hot water, lemon and honey, just to soothe that, right? Because it's like anything, if we irritate and we haven't been messing with it for a long time, it's going to feel different there. And it may feel a little scratchy, a little sore, but it's I'm telling you, it's fine. It's fine. But you just got to give it a little extra care today, maybe, right? Sometimes people feel like, or don't feel, they actually have some phlegm that comes up that's being clogged up there. My suggestion is let it out. Don't try to swallow it. Don't just get rid of it, right? You might be driving where you have to put it in a napkin or something, but get rid of it because that's part of that residue that's coming up because you have intentionally worked on that chakra today. Cool beans? Any other thoughts, comments, concerns, right?
I just really appreciate the lesson today, and thank you.
I appreciate that you could come because really, YouTube, now I'm going to talk to YouTube. This is our behind the scenes guy, YouTubers. He keeps it all going. He puts the titles in. He makes everything. And
I make good cupcakes.
He does. He brings us snacks that I love to come from, tea and everything, and it's already ready when we get here. He's so awesome for that. But he's never really able to practice with us. He's always running the behind the scenes. And today the universe said, you're going to be able to practice. And I'm glad you had a great time doing it. So cool. And you could tell Dr. Shred, hey, I got to sit in the lesson today, right? Cool. I'm glad you came, right? I'm glad you pushed forward and didn't just say, oh, one card, nobody's here, I'm going to leave. And you allowed yourself. Cool. Cool. Yes.
I think I can sing better now.
I bet you can. I bet you can, right? I bet you can, right? And I say this again, that can be a little intimidating, right? It's at first I didn't have a sound at all, right?
You had a great growl.
I practice on that intentionally. I do because at first when I joke and it was a little kitty, it was just like meow, right? And I want to be a lioness, so right? But that takes some time, and it took some in-home private time, right? Because who's going to be going out growling, just in front of people? So it didn't just get there the first time, second time. It took practice. And the more and more I practice, the deeper it gets and the more activated. So maybe practice a little bit, 2 or 3 minutes at home, right? Because you're a lion. Yes, you are inside. And you're a lioness. And when the lion and the lioness open their mouth, people are afraid, right? And even if they're not afraid, they pay attention, right? They're like.
I've noticed that the lioness is louder than the lion. You notice that?
Say it again. The lioness is what?
The lioness is louder.
Yes. Even in the animal kingdom. Yes, right? And it is. But when they open their mouths, they get your attention, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Whether it's fear, whether it's intrigue, and like, oh my God, look how wide it is, or whatever, or listen to the sound, they get your attention. Right? And me using my throat chakra in a soft and an empathetic, in a secure and a safe way, but still being a lioness. That's how I see that.
Before we sign off here, do we know if we're having a lesson next week?
Maybe not because of the holiday, right?
That's right.
And some people will celebrate that on a Saturday or Sunday. So we would have to probably talk to Dr. Tran and see.
So we'll just make a decision here. So
okay.
No
session next week, and we'll see you first in June.
First week in June.
Okay. All right. Cool.
That's
Well,
Saturday.
thank you, YouTubers, for joining us. Everybody have an awesome and amazing day. Thank you.